We're going to be checking out this video about cyborg upgrades that you can get to actually have superpowers.
Here's how you can become a real cyborg right now.
Yes.
Step 1, have a body made of flesh and blood.
Say what
Step
now?
2, put the body through terrible accident.
Wait, I don't know if I want to sign up for this actually.
3, get smart engineers to experiment on you for research.
I'm starting to rethink this idea.
You're still stuck on step 2 right now. So how about we take a look at some real-life examples of cybernetic upgrades you can get?
Yeah, looks awesome.
Great. We've got sense augmentation,
okay,
telepathic communication,
pretty cool,
and finally, bionic limb modification. Let's start at the top.
I'll take that.
Bionic eyes.
That's a real thing.
In 1978, engineer William Dobell tried to create artificial vision.
Smart man, big brain.
He found that when you electrically stimulate the visual cortex, a splotch of light called a phosphene is perceived.
Okay, guys, I just need to back up for 2 seconds here. I just, like, scientists like this kind of scare me a little bit because how did he figure this out? He obviously had to do a lot of experimentation on actual human brains, which is kind of how we have all science today and biology. So, I mean, I get that you have to do it, but at the same time, you know, this guy's kind of crazy for figuring that out.
He then stabbed a bunch of little electrodes in and mapped video camera footage to them, creating a dot matrix of phosphenes. So now someone wearing the device could see the outline of shapes.
Okay, big brain.
One of his blind patients even regained enough vision to drive a car.
Wait, really?
I can finally see now. His work was showing signs of truly helping people. And then
So I wonder if that's what they actually see. Like, they can't really see colors or they can't really see too many shapes, but they can see little dots in the form of shapes, which I guess is kind of what you would need to just make out objects in the world. So, I mean, if it's either you're blind or you get this, I would rather have this.
He died. And everyone realized
he died?
that he barely documented anything. All that research straight down the toilet.
Seriously,
but since
bro?
then, there have been many advances in bionic eye technology. Devices like the Argus 2 now allow you to read large text.
Interesting. There you go, you got it.
You could record and replay memories, or you could even stream other people's camera feeds and relive them for yourself.
Wait, did he just say that you could relive memories? That's an actual thing? I have never heard of that before. Comment down below if you have, but that seems like something out of, I don't know, like some sort of futuristic movie.
Maybe you could even zoom in.
Wait.
No, I could even
Cursed.
hack into your eyes and play doggo videos directly into your brain. Well, anyways, congratulations on your new bionic eyes. But did you know people nowadays are experimenting with non-human senses as well?
Huh? Like what?
Magnetic sense. This one's a weird modification, but you need all the help you can get, my friend. So you get a professional to cut your finger open and stick a itty-bitty magnet inside.
Okay, guys, this is where they start to lose me because I know that there are the cyborg superpower augmentations that you could technically add, but it, you know, you gotta kind of like cut open parts of your body, and that's where I might have to draw the line. I don't know if I'm willing to commit to that because that sounds a little scary. And also for some of these things, you can't really reverse it, I don't think. Like once it's there, it would be weird to go back to the way that you used to be because you'll kind of get used to having this upgrade.
Now it wiggles whenever you're near a magnetic field. Seems a bit gimmicky,
is that
but it
useful?
could be useful for an electrician. You can sense the shape and intensity of magnetic fields and even distinguish between AC and DC voltages.
So this would be good for somebody that's like working around electricity and different magnetic fields all day, but you can't turn into Magneto. I wouldn't be able to actually control magnets with my big brain. So I don't think I would want this upgrade.
But there would be so many disadvantages. Like, how would you get an MRI done? Have you seen how strong their magnets are?
True.
So we need to scan you for cancer.
No.
Sir?
Nope. Sorry.
Or even worse, it just rips out of your skin. You couldn't get past airport security either. But at least you can pick up paper clips with your finger. But your implant would demagnetize over time. So eventually you're just left with a piece of trash. And a demagnetized magnet.
I actually did not know that magnets lose power over time. So I guess I did learn something today.
Looks good on you though. Just don't get too close to that machine.
Oh, and he's dead.
Neil Harbison was born with a rare form of complete colorblindness, and at the age of 22, he turned into the world's first Pikmin.
Say what now?
He has a cyborg antenna implanted into his skull, with a camera on one end and a sound vibration implant on the other.
What?
Now, he can hear colors through audible vibrations based on what the camera is.
Did he just say that he could hear colors? Okay, that's kind of cool, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I feel like that's completely different than like how most people see color. Obviously, we could see that red is red, orange is orange, yellow is yellow, but for somebody that's colorblind, it kind of just all looks very gray and there's no actual like sensation of color. But at the same time, that's not the worst thing in the world, but this person decided that they would hack into their brain and they could understand color through vibrations, which is kind of strange. It kind of reminds me of like Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender, who can feel the vibrations in the ground, but instead of feeling people, she could just feel the colors. I guess that's a superpower? That's a really weird X-Men superpower. Like, imagine you were at X-Men University and somebody was like, I can hear the colors. I feel like they would just lock you up in prison.
Is seeing. The cool part is that he can see infrared and ultraviolet light too.
That is kind of neat.
Sunscreen kind of day. But turns out having your brain constantly vibrating isn't fun. Make it stop, please. But the human brain is plastic. Not literally made of plastic, but able to adapt and learn. So even though there was this new sense forcing its way in, Neil's brain eventually accepted it.
And then
Just
it
like
worked?
How our brains aren't overwhelmed by our eyes constantly seeing and our ears constantly hearing.
That is true. I'm sure you guys already heard this fun fact that your eyes actually filter out your nose. Because if you really focus, you could see your nose. And technically your eyes can see your nose pretty much 24/7, but your brain blocks it out because it's not useful.
I'll give you this antenna. Doesn't really do anything, but it's cute.
Thanks,
Cyborg
doggo.
Sense Speed Round. North Sense is a little chest implant that jiggles every time you face north. Centero is a proximity sensor that jiggles when you're next to another Centero user. Seismic Sense is an implant that jiggles when the Earth jiggles. These cyborgs sure do a lot of jiggling, don't they? I guess we should sort that out now, huh?
Guys, I want you to comment down below right now if any of these superpower cybernetic upgrades would be something that you would want to get in the future. Currently, right now, I don't think I want any of these.
Telepathic communication.
Ooh, wait, I want this one.
Humans communicate like this.
Pretty much, yeah, that's what my brother sounds like.
Could talk like this instead. Well, to do this, you need to read information from one
got
brain
roasted.
and write it to other brains or computers. Neuralink is already working on this with their brain-computer implant, and they've recently completed their first human trial. The patient was paralyzed from the shoulders down after an accident, and
You see, that's where a lot of these cyborg upgrades make a lot of sense to me. For somebody that maybe has lost their senses, or somebody that was born without one of their senses, like somebody that was born blind or deaf, or that can't use, some or all of their limbs, having some sort of cyborg upgrade that can reconnect to parts of your brain or your body that aren't working like they should be, that part's cool. That is epic to give, basically somebody that doesn't have what me and you have, or at least I'm assuming that you have access to these senses. If somebody that doesn't have it could then get access to them, that would basically be like a superpower for them because their entire life would be changed. Whereas the stuff that we usually do on a day-to-day basis is kind of just normal to us. When in reality, if you take it away, it turns into a superpower, which is kind of neat.
now he can use his mind to play RuneScape.
Epic.
The chip has a bunch of electrode threads which can read different signals from your brain. Their software then maps these signals to cursor movements on a screen. And you could use this technology to map a brain to any computer interface, like a Jaeger. With this implant, you can now control this Roomba. Here you go, buddy.
Awesome. Vacuum time. Yes.
Right now, brain-to-brain communication is pretty difficult, because seizures. But a simpler option would be to read a message.
Kind of curious, how did they learn that? Did somebody get a seizure?
From one brain and use a computer to transmit it to an ear implant. You could basically have your own private radio channels in your head. Reading information from brains could be a bit scary though. I don't want people to know my intrusive thoughts. Neil the Pikmin...
I know this isn't exactly what we're talking about here, but it would be so cool if there was some sort of like Neuralink brain device that you could wear, you know, pretty much 24/7, but ideally you could wear it only at night when you're dreaming, and then it would be able to like show you a movie of what you dreamed about, and that would actually be kind of scary because sometimes I have nightmares, but that would be kind of cool, and I think I would use that. But also, too, I don't think I would show anybody what I dreamed of, but it would be cool to see.
His jiggly cyborg buddy achieved a different form of cyborg communication with Bluetooth. And I mean a literal Bluetooth. When they were in close range, they could communicate in Morse code by tapping their teeth. What happens when they're eating, though?
Imagine you go up to somebody and like literally there's just two people and they're just like this. Not saying any words whatsoever. They're just... I don't know if that's a superpower. That's kind of weird.
How could you say that? Anyways, that's communication sorted. Wait, where'd he go?
Oh, he's trying to vacuum.
I guess it's time to get you some real legs now. Bionic limbs. At the age of 17, rock climber Hugh Herr had both his legs amputated due to frostbite. Doctors told him he would never climb again, but instead of giving up, he turned his clunky prosthetic legs into ones that could outperform real human limbs. Spiked feet for climbing vertical ice walls.
Okay, that's just awesome.
For reaching far footholds, and narrow-tipped feet that could slip into cracks way too thin for regular feet. His legs also didn't get tired while climbing anymore, because he didn't have any. Now, he finds himself as the director of biomechatronics at MIT.
Okay, that is like the coolest origin story I have ever heard of. This guy literally lost both of his legs, and instead of being like, you know, I guess I'll just use the normal prosthetic legs, he decided that he was gonna turn into Iron Man, pretty much. He turned into Tony Stark and then started developing even better legs. This guy is the best. He is literally the best person ever.
Where he designed special brain-controlled bionic legs.
Now that's cool.
Constantly adjust the stiffness of his joints to mimic how humans naturally walk. Like, look at how smoothly he moves. He hopes to end disability in humans one day, but there's a few major problems to solve first. One is that it's really hard to interface with human skin. It's hairy, oily, sweaty, and it chafes and cuts easily.
That is true. I have watched a few videos about like bionic limbs, and supposedly it is very difficult to get your body to accept the new robot piece that you want to be accepted by the body. So for example, like prosthetic arms or prosthetic legs or prosthetic anything really, even like fingers, it's like practically impossible to link everything together with your actual like muscles and tendons and like the little microscopic connections that happen. It's so difficult to get your body to accept a robot since most of your body like doesn't want anything that's foreign in your body, which, you know, sounds weird, but that's just how it is. Your body's like, ooh, that's not supposed to be there, and then it'll try its best to get rid of it. So it's going to be interesting in the future to see how people counteract that so that our bodies accept like pretty much robots into our internal system.
You can't just duct tape a prosthetic on and call it a day. Hugh's research is developing synthetic skin to tackle this problem. It can change its shape and stiffness under electrostatic forces. Kinda like how the glider cape from The Dark Knight turns from floppy to stiff when you run a current through it. So the synthetic skin is soft and stretchy on your squishy parts and stiffer where there's solid bone surface underneath. Sounds pretty comfy. But a gross problem that's often overlooked is sweat. Since prosthetics basically surround amputated limbs like a shoe, sweat doesn't evaporate. So some sports prosthetics include drain holes.
Say what?
Interfacing option
I never thought about that.
Integration, which involves implanting titanium directly into the bone, and then you can swap out whatever attachment you want. But the biggest problem is that bionic limbs don't really feel like they're a part of you. Humans have a sense called proprioception, which is basically your body's spatial awareness. For example, if you close your eyes, you're still able to touch the tip of your nose with your finger. The same can't be said for bionic limbs just yet. But research is currently being done to solve this, and soon you could pick any bionic limb you want, and it would feel like a part of you.
Okay, guys, comment down below what like bionic limb or what bionic attachment would you want to have? I personally think that it would be so cool if I could have like Doc Ock's giant tentacle robot arms, and then you could climb anything. You could climb buildings. They could even like maybe have the ends rotate really fast, and then you could turn into a drone that flies. The possibilities are endless.
Bionic Limb Speed Round. Jason Bonds is a drummer with a bionic arm attachment with 2 drumsticks.
Okay, that's
allowing
epic.
him to play rhythms no other human can play. Jesse Sullivan is one of the world's first cyborgs who had a bionic arm that could be controlled through nerve grafts in his chest.
That is
This dude has a
insanely
USB
cool.
in his finger.
Okay, that doesn't make any
And
sense.
as a company,
That man better have like a bajillion Bitcoin on there, because if not, why would you ever do that?
called Bionic that makes prosthetic arms that can punch through things. And
Okay.
now, with a few little adjustments, all finished.
Oh,
look
yo. Oh, God.
Ah, you're welcome.
Oh, yeah, he's communicating with the Bluetooth. I think he maybe turned into a supervillain.